Hey, good morning. Today it's snowing outside. Show them the snow, Mama, out the window there. So, Mama and I decided to start our log cabin build, our model log cabin build. So that's what I'm going to show you today. We're going to build an 18 by 22 foot log cabin. And what I've got here is a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and I've got all my logs pre-cut. I cut them 24 inches for the outside walls, because I figured I would have a foot of overhang on each end for the corners to make them look nice. And then the back wall is going to be 18 feet, but I cut those 20 inches also. So I'm basically just converting feet to inches for the model, so it'll all work out. Okay, let's get started and I'll show you step number one. Okay. All right, so this morning I prepared everything for the model log cabin build, and I started to put together one of the sill logs onto my 3/4 inch plywood. But just to show you where I started, what I did was I took 2 TV trays and just pushed them together, and it seems to be working nice, because then I can sit down and I can work on it by the fire or by the wood stove here, and it's nice and comfortable. It's snowing pretty good outside right now. So what I did was I went out in the shed and I found some plywood. I had a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I had left over from a job, and what I did was I measured it 36 inches long and 20 inches wide. And the reason I use that measurement is because my cabin, like I mentioned before, is going to be, it's an 18 by 22 inch cabin, and Mama and I are actually going to be building an actual cabin to that size on our property. We're going to start that this summer, so we'll have some more videos of the actual cabin build. But we wanted to go ahead and do a model first, just so that we felt comfortable with kind of how to do it. We've never built a log cabin before, so it'll be our first try at it. So anyway, I've got the piece of plywood here cut, and what I did was I have some trees outside that were dry. They were the tips of some Douglas fir trees. That's what we're going to be building the cabin out of, Douglas fir. And I have found these dry, skinny pieces outside, and I'll show you what we did to prepare our materials. So here is my wood that I prepared. I've got them cut at different lengths here. So this pile here, this is for the back wall, and they've still got the bark on them, some of them. And these are 20 inches long. And I tried to find wood that was similar in size, as far as being, the width of the wood, and trying to find the straightest ones I could find, so that, the cabin build will be a little bit easier. And over here are my 24 inchers. And same thing. I cut all those at 24. These will be for the side walls. And the reason I cut them that length is because I left a foot on the front and a foot towards the back overhang at my corners where the logs will overlap and fit together. So it will have some real pretty corners on the cabin. Okay, so my wife here, she is removing the bark from the logs. That was the first thing that we did after we cut them to length. We just got a little flat blade here. You could probably use a chisel or just something with a sharp flat edge on it to get the bark off. In real life, you'd probably use one of them fancy tools that has the double handles on. I could call it a draw knife, but we're not going to do that for these purposes. Okay, so she's got all the bark off of that log. And next thing is she's using a saw, a little saw I have there. And she's going to saw off all the little knots and get them flush. Get all the wood logs flush. Get all them little knots cut off. Okay, perfect. Okay, now she's going to clean the log. I suppose in real life you could use a power washer. If you were doing this for the big logs, you could use your power washer and clean them logs up real nice. Get all the dirt and junk off of them. But we're just using a wire brush to kind of clean them up and smooth them off. It don't take long. It's pretty easy. All that dirty stuff comes off pretty good. Okay, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to sand the outside of the log and just kind of smooth it up a little bit, you know, get some of them slivers out. Just clean it up a bit. Okay, and then once we're done sanding the outside and getting it cleaned up, we're going to sand the edge of the ends of the logs just to kind of get those slivers off of there and round them up real nice. And the slivers come right off. Then you can grab that log and do whatever you want with it, and you don't have to worry about getting a pokey in your finger. So then what we're doing here is I'm going to show you how I cut these on my table saw. So these logs, I measured them on the ends about 1 3/4 on the ends here. This right here from here to here is about 1 3/4 inches. There's my little slab there that got cut off. But all I did was I ran these through the table saw and through, and then I had my little slab there that came off. Okay, same thing you'd do on a big circular saw at a mill, or those bandsaw mills that they're selling right now. It'd just be the other direction. It'd go this way. But I had mine like that because I have a table saw for this job. It works perfect. Makes a nice little slab there. Okay, so we're back inside the house now. We were just out at the table saw, and we cut that slab off of one side of the log to make it flat. And like I was saying outside, I measured the thickness or the width of the log from the flat edge up to the crown at about 1 3/4 there. And these logs that I found are pretty uniform in size, so you know, when they're uniform like that, they're nice to work with because you can cut them and they're both 1 3/4 on the ends, so it makes for a nice start for your foundation as far as keeping it level. Okay, so again, I cut this plywood, 3/4 inch plywood, 36 inches long, because I wanted to leave room for a 6-foot front porch, and then I'll have about a 6-foot back porch also, or I should say 6 inches, but you know what I'm saying. I'm talking in feet, but the model is scaled down to inches. So I just marked it 6 inches there, and then over here also I marked it. Okay, this side over here I completed already, so I'm going to show you what I did. So I got my mark there, and what I did was I found some of this foam. It's got sticky stuff on the back, and I'm going to use this under my log for like an insulation if you were going to put this on a slab foundation. And I measured this out a little longer than the length of my log, and then I just went from my little mark there and I put this down like so, and it's sticky, so it just sticks on there. So all that's doing is just simulating some type of a sill plate, you know, that you would put down so that the wood wouldn't directly be on concrete or whatever your foundation you're going to use. So I got my log here. It's nice and flat. It's all cleaned up. Then I'm going to go ahead and put it on that mark there. Line it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and this will simulate, I'm drilling a hole here. This is going to simulate anchoring the your bottom logs to the foundation, however you plan to do it. Make sure you don't drill into your coffee tables. Okay, my battery's about gone. I'm going to have to get another battery. Okay, get rid of your sawdust there. Now I went with a 2-inch screw for this. So these are inch and 3/4. I didn't want to drill into my picnic table, or my coffee table I should say. So I'm going to drill these in, and they're going to go down into the log about another 1/4 of an inch. So they'll be into this 3/4 inch plywood 1/2 inch, and that should be plenty to get them in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this screw in. I like these star bit screws better than Phillips head screws. They just seem to catch a lot better and not strip out the heads. I'm done using Phillips screws. I'm so tired of them things. So when I get to the top of the log, I'm going to go ahead and go on in another 1/4 inch. Okay, that's nice and solid. Stop. All right, so back to securing the bottom logs to the foundation. I'm just going to use these screws, like I said, for now. Go on in 1/4 more inch. Okay. I was watching a lot of cabin builds, and a lot of guys, they'll go ahead and use threaded rod in concrete. They'll drill holes in these logs and feed that thread through the holes and then secure them that way. But I'm just doing it this way for demonstration purposes. I think I'll just put 3 screws in. Each one of them should be plenty to hold this stuff. Okay, so there are my first 2 logs for my model log home build, and that'll be a wrap for today. I'm gonna put one more in the middle, but I'm going to use the exact same technique that you've already seen. So thanks for watching. That is part 1. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're back at the log cabin build, the model log cabin build. And I've got my 3 sill logs screwed into place to the foundation here. So I'm getting ready to scribe and put on my first log on the back wall. So I wanted to show you how I'm going to do that. So all my logs that I cut, even though they're different lengths, they're pretty much the same width or diameter, and they're right at about 2 inches. So I figured what I would do just to start for my first log is just split the difference. You know, I figured I would scribe about 1 inch of the log for my saddle cut. So I found this little compass out in my toolbox. I've had it for years. It was brand new. I never opened it until now. And this isn't an actual scribe that you would use to build a log cabin with, but I've seen people modify them and use them. So what I did was, since I want to make that saddle cut about 1 inch deep, what I did is I just set my compass. I took a tape measure and I set the distance with this little wheel here in the middle. I put the point of the lead and the point of the needle, or whatever you call it, the scribe part there, 1 inch apart. So I know I'm 1 inch there, and that's how deep I wanted to go into the wood. So I got my my log square, and my overhang is just about right. And I kind of rolled the log to where it sat on the base logs that, you know, all of them were touching. Like I said, all these logs are pretty much the same width, so I've got it pretty level here. And the way I've got it sitting right here, I've got it, all of my points are touching here on the bottom of the log. So I just took my little compass here and just use it as a log scribe. It's kind of the same principle. You just keep the point on the bottom log And then your pencil lead just kind of goes up and makes your scribe go from the edge of the log here up like that. Now trying to keep the log steady. I could probably put a screw in it for temporary to hold. I'll probably do that on the next one. But just to show you how I'm doing this. And then I make try to keep this kind of as level as I can horizontally as I do this. This thing here, you know, keep it somewhat horizontal because I don't have a level on here. I probably could put a level on there, like a little string level or something, and tape it on there. I should probably go look for one of those. I probably got one. But that's what I'm doing right there. Okay, so I did that, and then I got my mark. So I got my mark here. And then I'll show you what I did. I already did one. And this is what I came up with. And you do it on both sides of the log. So, you know, this log was sitting like so. And so I scribed it on this side, and then I went around on the back side and scribed it as well in all three spots on the log. And then I took it out to my my chop saw, and I'll show you what I did. Stop. So I'm at the chop saw, and so this chop saw is going to basically replicate a chainsaw. Okay, so if you look here closely, you can see where I made my relief cuts, and I tried to not go beyond my scribe mark that I made on the wood. I cut right to it like that there, and then I'm going to notch these out. I'm going to chip them away, and then you know, get this saddle nice and cleaned out. Okay, but all I did to make these cuts was I just put it on here, and on the chop saw, your guard here in the back has an opening, so you can kind of, you know, go around there and peek at it. And then as you come down, I'm not going to turn this on, but you get the idea. You know, you can go in there and cut, you see, and then you just kind of roll it back towards you a little bit till you hit that back line, and then roll it forward until you hit this front line, and then just make sure that you don't go beyond that scribe line. And then you just do it again, same way in the next cut, same way, roll it, kind of roll it like that there, and get all your cuts. Okay, and then you just do that all the way down the log for all three, and that's what you would do with a chainsaw pretty much. So that's it for now. I just wanted to show you how I did that, and then on the next video I'm going to go ahead and chip these out and clean them up and see if this first one, how it fits on the back wall for the first log. Okay, so I'm back at the log cabin build here. I just finished making these relief cuts in the saddle of this first log that's going to be going on the back wall here. It's going to be going in like that there, hopefully. So I just wanted to show you, I got a little chisel here, and I'm just going to kind of break these, see, like that. Take them out. You know, if you were building your cabin, you could do the same thing and use some kind of a bar or a hammer or an axe and just chip and break these pieces out. Oops. Okay, so there's a start right there, just to show you what I'm doing. Okay. And another thing, when you start to clean out along this line here, you could take this chisel and push it down in there and kind of make a line. And then that way when you're prying this stuff out, it's not going to chip down into your wood. You can just chip it out. Okay? Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'm outside here. I was trying to figure out what tool would work best to clean up these saddles after I chipped out the wood chunks. And I think this Sawzall, got this at Harbor Freight, seems to work pretty good. I can go right down to the line with the scribe line without going any deeper. So it kind of acts like a chainsaw normally would. I'll give you a quick example of that. You can see down here I've still got some line here. And I'll go right down to that, okay? A little noisy, but... Okay, so I'm right down to the line, so I'll go ahead and finish that for now, but I got most of that stuff cleaned out of them saddles. And next step, I will go ahead and take a chisel and just finish these out, sand them smooth, and then we'll see if it fits. Okay. Okay, so you can see here, I'm not quite done cleaning out the saddle yet. It's getting close. I'm getting close to these lines here. This one is pretty good. This one here I got a little more to do, but I sat it on here. See, originally it was sitting up like that because I didn't take enough out. I didn't clean enough out of the middle one. So I went back out and cleaned it up. And it's pretty good. I need to do a little bit. This board's warped a little bit, but it's supposed to sit just like that there. That's where it'll be nailed down. So this one's flush. It looks really super. This one I still got a little work to do. And this one over here is pretty flush too. So I'm real happy with the method I'm using here. And so if you get in a situation where things aren't going together or they're not level, what I did was, so this was sitting up. There was a gap here, about like that, because there was too much meat here in the middle. So in order to get this to drop down, I had to take some of this out and a little bit of that over there too. But what I did, so this originally was sitting up like that. Here, I'll show you. It was up like that there. And what I did was I took my little scriber tool, my little compass, and what I did was I measured the distance, the gap here that it was sitting up. And then I went over here and I went ahead and re-scribed this and took a little bit more out in the middle. And once I did that, then everything dropped down, and I checked it with the level, and it's within the second line, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now what I'm going to do next, once I get that cleaned out, is I'm going to put it in place, make sure it's all square, and then I'm going to drill some holes down in here, 3 holes, and go ahead and put some more screws in, or maybe some finish nails. I haven't decided yet. Okay, well there you are. My first scribed log turned out pretty well. I'm happy with it. Thanks for watching.